know. I never know.
Episode 126 of Seddy Bimco, America's foremost revenge-themed podcast. Join us as we continue our tour of the 50 nifty United States, one regional film from each of the states. We talk about this wacky film, and together, me and my marvelous co-host, Tim Hamilton, devise a revenge-themed sequel to it, assuming it never had one. And today we are in the great state of Iowa. With the very homegrown movie. Yeah, the Caucasus, you're right. The very homegrown movie, Zadar, Count from Hell.
Can't wait. But you know what I do?
Tim, I believe you have a wrinkly old
question about revenge.
Oh boy, can't wait.
Yeah, we're here to watch a movie. Yeah. I'm Tim Hamilton.
Yeah, you said that.
This is George O'Connor.
Oh yeah, we didn't really do intros. You're right. Yeah, I'm George O'Connor. This is Tim Hamilton.
My age-old question about revenge, George.
Yeah.
Did Christopher de Rosier, inventor of the bidet, ever get revenge on us Americans for basically stealing his idea, placing them in public places, and labeling them as
water fountains
whites only? No, you stepped on my joke. Whites only.
I wanted to ruin it.
Right. They saw people drinking, and he's like, "Hey, those are for cleaning your butts." He's like, "Oh well, we'll call them mouth squirters."
It's Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
It's Seddy Bimco.
Seddy Bimco.
I'm Tim Hamilton, a New Yorker cartoonist, a children's book illustrator, graphic novelist. And this is George O'Connor.
Yeah, professional wrestler, bon vivant, tallest
ourselves.
man in the world. Yeah. No, I'm also a New York Times best-selling cartoonist, author of the series Asgardians and Olympians. And I want to pull the curtain aside to share a little bit.
Me too. So you go first.
As we are recording today, we're actually recording on. We typically record on a Thursday. We're actually recording on a Wednesday. And I sprung this request on Tim pretty late in the day. Let's say it's about 3. And he's like, oh, let me get back to you in an hour and a half. This is exactly what happened. He goes, I'll let you know in an hour and a half. Hour and a half passes by. He types me back, woo, came up with an age-old question. So I realized, it was real good. So the whole thing you were worried about was like, I need a good hour and a half to come up with the gem, the nugget of solid gold, or as you might think of it, is the awful turd that makes people turn off our podcast.
Come on,
it takes you an hour and a half to come up with those jokes. That's
good fun. If you hadn't walked all over it, stepped on it. What? I'm going to derail you because you're going to love this. I love documentaries, George, and there's a new one called.
I have a question.
Okay.
Why don't you marry documentaries if you love them so much? All right, so this new it's not the one that you told. Last documentary you told me about was the Renaissance Fair one. Which one's this?
Oh, Chimp Crazy. Oh. It's about people who like to own chimps, and this one woman who's got 40 of them. So she made a zoo, and they got in trouble because she's got all these 40 chimps in cages. So here's what I want to tell you. If you listen to the show, George and I have made jokes about violent chimp attacks. And halfway through the episode, they introduce her second husband. And I'm looking at him going, his face looks funny. It's got scars. If George is here, he'd say, yeah, monkey ripped his face off. I'm like, come on, Tim. Let's watch this documentary.
Is this the guy? Is this the guy who has the magnetic thing?
He went in the cage, and the monkey jumped up and bit his nose off. And it says his wife had to go get the nose, and it got reattached. No, you see his face. It's just got scars. And I was like, no, come on, Tim. And I'm like, yeah, next sentence. Yeah, he went in the cage.
Don't get it. There's a guy, which he has a plastic face. Because
did a monkey do it?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a really sad story. It was a couple that raised a chimp specifically.
We're going to hear his story
birth.
In the show, I'll bet.
Oh, I bet you will. It's very sad. It bums me out. And they had to surrender the chimp to a chimp habitat thing. And they visited one day on its birthday, and they brought the little chimp a birthday cake. And the other chimps became envious of that, and they pulled his face off and ate his butt. And literally bit off his heel. So he's a couple of chimps. They mutilated him, just like they did to that poor lady a few years ago.
No, to the monkey or to the man?
The man.
Oh, wow.
And the man now, he has to wear he's got he at least he still has his eyes, unlike that other woman who had her eyes pulled up by the chimp.
Yes, her story is in episode 2. Her story is that woman.
Wow,
this woman sold her those monkeys. Yeah. The woman. Well,
she wasn't even her. It was her friend, her fucking stupid friend. Who
I'm just saying they talked to the woman who sells monkeys to people, and she sold the monkey to them who attacked that woman.
That's terrible.
Because they make a lot of money. Because this woman built a zoo, and she's like, "Yeah, I make $1 million a year, selling people. Any illegal animal. You want a kangaroo, she'll get you what you want." But that's anyway. Come here for the laughs.
No, it's weird, Tim.
Yeah,
I went to the page. I looked this up because sometimes, as you know, you lie, and so I had to look up to see if this chimp crazy is a real thing. It is. It says Alan Cumming as Self in 2 episodes.
Because he was in a movie in the 90s with some monkeys, and he became friends with the monkey, and he's like, now that monkey is in a cage somewhere. I want to help it. I don't think people should be doing this with monkeys anymore. I
want to make sure Alan Cumming didn't own a monkey.
No. There's a movie he's in. Yeah. He's like, it was fun, but now I know that's wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. Because once
the movie he was in X2 where he played Nightcrawler and the monkey was Hugh Jackman, a.k.a. Wolverine? That's weird. Right. Someone should just tell him, no, he's not a monkey. He's an Australian.
Well, the whole point, people, if you don't know this, monkeys are cute when they're young, but then they become sexually mature and adults and they can just kill you. So can't keep them as a pet.
It's so weird. It's I think, like you mentioned, you heard about this episode, you're like, George is going to react. My first reaction when I hear a chimpanzee is to pull your face off.
Yes.
I don't think I'm alone in that. I feel like a lot of people, their first reaction to chimpanzees is going to pull your face off. We've heard this story a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. Why are these people, if you like dumb little things that run around your house, you should have a kid.
Yeah. Ooh. Anyway, we'll see if you watch it.
I won't.
You're a scary cat. Gene got up and left.
Yeah, I don't.
This find monkeys is strange. Well, the woman
I find
who owns
monkeys
them
unpleasant.
They're all wearing diapers, George. There's a plus, huh?
I mean, what is it? I'm at the Hamilton house. Everyone's wearing diapers. Man, I'm hot tonight. You know why, Tim?
Let's talk about Iowa.
So talk about Iowa. So
talk about
should we do Iowa facts? Iowa facts?
I got the first one. Iowa is where ayahuasca is from. Gotcha.
That's definitely not true, but yeah, you're right. Stoned to the bone, Tim Hamilton knows his drugs. Iowa is tied with Ohio for state with the least amount of letters and the most amount of vowels.
Oh, I have to trust you. I can't look that up right now.
Iowa pulls ahead because it's actually, if you think about it in a certain way of thinking, it's all vowels. You got the I, you got the O, you got the A, and then you got the W, 2 U's, all vowels.
George, I thought it was spelled A-Y-A-H.
A-Y-A-H. Did you just spell something racist?
No. That's how you start to spell ayahuasca.
Okay.
Never.
Stone to the bone.
That's good, George. I like that.
Yep. What else do we got about Iowa?
You did a lot of work on that one. I give you applause.
Its capital is Des Moines and props. Its capital is Des Moines. That's how it's pronounced, right? Wait.
Des Moines. I think that's how
it
you
is?
say it.
Okay. Tim.
Des Moines, Iowa.
When you were on tour in Des Moines, didn't you get a specific text?
Yeah, that I was a clue on Jeopardy.
Whoa, who sent you that text?
Carter's wife. What was her name? Man, damn it.
Deja Thoris?
Yeah.
No, you should have said, Tim, Des Moines' own Slipknot. Because the band Slipknot comes from Des Moines.
Yeah, I read that.
And they still live, and apparently many of the members still live there. So that's pretty cool.
You're bringing that up because I found a band. I might as well say it now.
Yeah, I totally forgot to listen to music.
Karen Meat. I want to give a shout out because I listened to Karen Meat's music, and I odd music. It's odd. Odd in a good way. I like it.
And we should say, if you were interested in the work of Karen Meat, it is spelt meat like the flesh a monkey would pull off someone's face, as opposed to meat when you actually were to encounter a monkey for the first time.
In Australia, Karen Meat is slang for hooking up on a Sunday afternoon.
Is that true?
So, yeah.
Very specific Sunday afternoon.
Look it up, Australia.
So in Australia, do they have a different slang term for each day of the week? For me hooking up? So Karen Meat is like a Sunday.
Mondays
what if I want to
spam?
What if I want to hook up on a Tuesday though? I'm like, what do I call it then?
That's meatballs.
Meatballs? All right. That's weird that it has meat again in it. How about on a Thursday?
That's porchetta.
I tricked you because everybody knows there's no Thursdays in Australia.
Oh, damn it.
They skip that day.
They never saw Cheers? They never saw The Cosby Show?
Oh man, I love that you're referencing what your references immediately go. It's like you were like 1984 rolled by and you're like, clap your hands. I'm done learning new stuff.
That's the last.
I am just gonna make references. Yeah,
those must see TV on a Thursday night, George.
Yep. Yeah. Never mind. Not even that. You're not even thinking like Friends or Seinfeld. Those are Thursday night must say TVs later.
I guess so. Yep.
Yeah, you're just that old. Let's see. It's the 29th state, Iowa. Has a population of 3.2 million people.
Now, doesn't it have a lot of cows? We had that state before that had the most cows, and I'm surprised Iowa doesn't have almost as many cows.
You know, I don't know.
Because they make cheese. And...
Are they famous?
Sorry, that's Minnesota.
Well, we had Wisconsin because they were the dairy area.
Sorry.
Yeah, they were the one with the cows that we already did.
Back up and cut that out.
I think Iowa's famous for nothing.
The caucuses.
That's not true. It's for the caucuses, and I actually have a list of some of the big. This is some of the big things to see if you're ever in Iowa.
And the Dew caucuses.
There's the caucus. Yes, there's the caucuses.
I said, and the Dew caucuses.
And the Dew caucus.
He ran for president in 1984.
Again, yeah, in the 80s. He ran.
It's history.
The last time Tim paid attention to anything in the 80s. So you could go to Iowa and you can see your caucuses and your Dew caucuses and every other old reference Tim will make. But you could also go to the Farm Progress Show. That's a yearly thing. Progress. I said that weird.
Progress.
The Mamie Dowd Eisenhower Museum is there.
Is that real?
Yep.
What's it for? What's it got in it, George? Come on.
I didn't even bother looking. I assume I assume it has the embalmed corpse of Mamie Dowd Eisenhower.
Probably just her. You stand in line to see it.
If that's not your speed, though, you could also see the Herbert Hoover National Historic Site.
That's a dam.
No, that's in Colorado. This is just the Herbert Hoover National Historic Site. It's just.
And what's in there? What's the site?
I assume vacuum cleaners. I don't know. Vacuum cleaners and the embalmed corpse of Herbert Hoover. But the best thing that you can find in Iowa, Tim, the absolute best bit, the world's largest truck stop is there.
I think I've heard this.
It's called Iowa 80.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Has it got a restaurant? What's there?
Trucks.
The embalmed corpse of
Mamie. Mamie Dowd Eisenhower and Herbert Hoover and 3 of the original members of Slipknot. They're all there.
Karen Meat plays there.
Yeah.
Well, what's there? Is it like a little mall? What makes it the biggest? When you say biggest truck stop, I don't think, well, not that big, right?
That's pretty big, Tim. Let me go call up Iowa 80.
Truck stops are all small.
Not this one, because Iowa 80 truck stop is the world's largest truck stop, Tim.
Oh, trick stop. Ooh.
Trick stop. Whoa.
Someone knows something about this truck stop.
Here's some testimonials that people have supplied about the world's largest truck stop on the Iowa 80 truck stop. Why can't I say this? Here, are you ready? This one's from a friend of the show, Amanda G. One of my favorite ever since the first time I stepped in and was in awe. I look forward to stopping every time I'm out that way.
Okay.
Pretty cool, huh? Yeah.
That's cool, man.
And this one's from friend of the show, Chuck C. I just wanted to thank you for a very pleasant visit. Your staff made me feel very much at home and welcomed as we chatted about things that they most certainly did not care about, but it was hard to tell. Thank you again and again. I feel like that was actually a review of our podcast.
Thank you, Chuck C.
It's got a super truck showroom. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool place.
I'll look it up later.
Yeah. What else about Iowa do we got? Anything? Oh, yeah.
I looked at their flag.
Yeah.
We don't have much time. I just want to say.
What did you think about that flag?
Typeface is terrible.
I thought it was a good flag. It's based on the French flag.
The typeface, though. The typeface.
I don't remember there being words on it. What did it say?
Iowa. I looked at two flags. There's a flag of Iowa. It says Iowa. And I think there's their seal. It had a...
the seal's different. The seal's like a round picture with, two dudes standing like every state seal is.
No, it was one guy with a flag with a big red cap on top of his flag.
Oh, because Iowa, their motto is, we have no friends.
Their motto is, our liberties we prize and our rights we will maintain. We'll move on. That's all I got to say about it.
All right. Well, I got some more Iowa facts before we move on.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I'm not even talking that much this time. Its most notable cryptid is the Van Meter Visitor. Have you ever heard of this one, Tim?
No, Van Meter.
He was part of a single flap in 1903. His description is pretty much that he is a pterodactyl with a big horn coming out of his head, and his eyes glowed like lamps that shot beams out of them.
Interesting.
He's definitely real. So,
yes.
Yeah, that sounds very realistic. First elevator. Do you want to know when this happened?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Powered by steam.
I didn't write the guy's name. No. It is powered by steam. You're right. It was built in 1882 by this rich guy's house. He built it for his own personal amusement. And it was a funicular that would take him over his property, and it was made of hemp rope and powered by steam.
What? So this is just a tram?
No, because this thing it was a funicular, one of those that goes up mountains.
Oh, on a train track.
No, yeah, but more like a Rhode Island tram sort of thing. But this got the nod as the first elevator. One of my various elevator related websites I go to. This is the first part I like, though. This is the part I like. 1882, he opens it. By 1884, his fellow Iowanians, which is the official term, don't let anybody tell you otherwise, of an Iowan, the Iowanians of the neighborhood were like, we're very curious to ride this elevator. So he would charge them a nickel to ride his elevator. Tim.
And? Play
start
the
music. George's current. Do you want to know what a nickel in 1884 is worth now?
$3.
Nah, too high. $1.60. People were forking over $1.60 of their hard-earned cash to ride a funicular up and down. Yeah.
That's what a comic book cost in 1990? No, never. It went to $1 and then it went nuts after that.
There was definitely a period of time when comics were like 60 cents. Mm-hmm. And then they slowly crept to $1. You're right. Then once they hit $1, they're like, fuck it, $10. That's probably what they are now, right?
Yes, I think so.
It's like you pay $1 a page. And last thing, first streetcar was in Des Moines in sometime in the 1860s, pulled by horses. And by 1884, the first electric one. Boom. There. Iowa. Boom.
Zadar. We're going to do Zadar. And we here at Seddy Bimco like to place our movies in time by saying how many years before or after Star Wars came out. This came out 89, right, George?
Yep.
12 years after Star Wars. And
I like to place it in relation to Jim Henson's magnum opus Labyrinth, which came out in 86. Mm-hmm. This came out a scant 3 years after.
This is competing with Batman, right? 89?
Yeah.
This never stood a chance.
Well, it actually, you know what? I meant to look this up. I do know it made $25,000 in Iowa.
I read that too.
Yeah.
$25,000 in Iowa.
Yeah. That's pretty good for two showing.
In American dollars.
Yeah, they paid in ayahuasca.
But yeah, they're up against Batman.
Yep.
I remember 1983. Everybody went every day to watch Batman. That's pretty much all we did.
Which is weird because you said 1983, which is definitely years before Batman came out.
89.
Yeah.
I'll edit that back in.
Yeah, it's because, yep.
So no one in this movie really, they're an amateur.
Not true, Tim.
Comedy group.
This movie has...
I'm sorry. Your favorite guy is in it. Okay.
This movie has a pretty significant connection.
It does.
To another Seddy Bimco movie.
Destroyer, right?
Yep. So this movie was written by and starring the members of a comedy troupe operating out of Iowa called Duck's Breath Mystery Theater. I think it was theater. Okay, I couldn't remember the handwriting. So. And I thought they were actually kind of funny. But one of the members of Duck's Breath is named Jim Turner, who became famous in the late 80s for his run for president and his starring role in MTV as Randy the Redwoods. Yep. And he played, I think his character's name was Rewind or perhaps Reverb or something, Rewire.
In this movie?
Previous Seddy Bimco movie, Destroyer.
He was a techie guy called something Wire.
Yeah, something like Hardwire.
We'll say
Underwire, because he was wearing a bra all the time. And he played Max, who's a Swedish guy. Yeah.
Although in this movie, he always says, "I'm not from Sweden." That was his continuing joke.
Where was he from? Was I making?
We never knew. He just always says, "I'm not from Sweden."
I really didn't catch that. Really?
Really? He did.
Wow. Oh no!
Like you said, there's a few funny things, and that was okay. Yeah. That was one of them.
So here's the thing. This is like a true, so we've been trying to make this regional films. This is a truly regional film. It was filmed entirely in Iowa by Iowanians. It was full of, I guess, Iowa type jokes. I thought that this was a pretty well done movie, like skirting the edge of what we sometimes call too good for Seddy Bimco.
But it had no score on Rotten Tomato.
Well, it's so local. That's the thing.
I know what you're saying.
It truly is super local. But I want to say, if any members of Duck's Breath are listening, congrats. You did a very professional looking job on this movie. And Tim, that was some fake praise. Yeah, congrats. You made a movie.
Yeah. I have some nits to pick with it, but I had some parts where I was laughing at it. So
it's no Star Wars, Tim. No.
It will be. It will be.
I can't wait till Disney buys it and creates a bunch of series about it. Oh, maybe tonight it comes. Okay.
Do you want to do synopsis for our audience?
So,
I'll interrupt you halfway through, but you start.
Okay.
Synopsis.
Hollywood big shot Sleepless Walker returns home to his hometown of, I think, Boylston, Iowa, to film a horror. Yeah,
a jab in Iowa.
To film a horror movie there, getting back to his roots.
Yes.
And the movie is a movie within a movie. Unfortunately, to my great disappointment, Zadar, Cow from Hell, is not an actual character in the movie. That is the movie that they're filming. And I was disappointed that we did not actually have a diabolical cow in this movie.
I was disappointed too. And they start this off with very broad characters. He's interviewing a voice guy who's very hoity-toity, and there's gangsters there funding his movie, and they're just jokes. They're just the gangster guy's not a heavy. It's just it's a gangster guy. He's funding your movie, and the guy
he's definitely a heavy. He ends up stealing money multiple times later.
Oh, I know, but he's a joke. Everything here is not it's not heavy. Nobody plays a serious character.
No, and it's a comedy troupe your Kids in the Hall or your Monty Python or Tim. What's an appropriate old person reference for a comedy troupe?
Well, you just had Monty Python. That's from the early 70s, George.
That's too early for you. I know you got something you're like.
What's that show we talked about last week with the monkeys that were detectives and this people owned 3 monkeys? The Henshaws? The Hathaways? That was a real show.
Real show.
Which we should have brought this week with the monkeys.
You're watching entirely too much monkey-based entertainment, Tim. I'm getting a little scared for you.
We'll look up what happened to those monkeys.
So here's the characters that you need to know for this movie. I already mentioned Sleepless Walker. He is the Hollywood guy. He's come back. His assistant in crime of making films is a guy named Mr. Tension. He does everything from makeup to script writing and stuff. There is the mob guy that Tim mentioned. His name is Mr. Nifty. He talks like a bad imitation of the Godfather the whole time. There's Max, who is the not Swedish guy, who is played by Randy the Redwoods.
Yes. And Sleepless has a brother who stayed in the town. His name is, I forgot. Ralph, right?
Wait, who was his? Oh, his brother was the guy married to
Amy.
And Ralph is, I forgot that they were related. Yeah, Sleepless is Ralph Walker. Because I get Sleepless Walker, Sleepwalker.
Mm-hmm.
Why Ralph? That's not a joke.
Anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's got his wife. What's his wife's name? Amy?
Amy.
Yeah, and her running joke is she wants to leave Ralph. Ralph has sold his farm and doesn't do anything. She keeps trying to leave him.
Which? This is Iowa jokes made by Iowans. I've never heard of a farmer sell his farm like, yep, sitting pretty. It's always sad stories of farmers like, oh, I hope they pay the going price for my tractor so I can eat dinner tonight.
I drove up and down the highway and somebody picked up all the roadkill possums already.
So
I guess because this is the 80s, it's probably at the beginning of mega corporations buying up all the farms. Yeah. Oh, Farm Aid.
That's who got all Farm Aid's money. Ralph.
Yep. That's why Willie Nelson appears in this movie. And then at one point, why Willie Nelson? Who else is in this movie? Oh, there's like a guy who's like the main actor in the film who's like a radio guy. He talks with a really heightened voice, but he's also a bit of a moron. And his entire driving force is he's always wanting to take lunch.
Yes. They offer him hot dogs. He's like, oh, hot dogs. Let me do this voiceover.
I think that's kind of and then Sleepless's mom, who ends up taking over writing the script.
Oh, and two little plucky kids.
One of them who is like maybe Sleepless's nephew?
Yeah.
And then his friend who keeps running into things. That's his shtick.
Which friend is that?
He's the little blonde kid with the bloody nose all the time because he keeps running into shit.
Ran into that trolley car.
And later he runs he gets his arms and legs cut off.
Jesus, what?
Hey.
So at the beginning, the kids running down the street going, the movies are coming. The movies are coming. They're like,
that might be true. I don't even know.
That happened. George, you didn't see the kids.
I don't. So the movie opens up where it's set in quote unquote L.A. and Sleepless is recruiting the people that he's going to bring with him to film this movie, and it's very meta.
That part, George.
Well, that's what I get the pitching because it has a line I really liked, where Sleepless looks right at the camera and addresses us, the viewer, and he says, "Every movie is special, but this movie is special." And he says special in a way that is sometimes used to denote a sort of perhaps a pejorative, a less than special. So it's kind of a funny bit.
Cool.
And then,
each character gets to talk to the fourth wall in this movie.
They do?
Wow.
Would you say this movie was a huge influence on Deadpool and Wolverine?
I don't remember him talking to the screen. Yes, I think Deadpool and Wolverine ripped this off. I don't remember
this is right in the beginning. Yeah, right in the beginning, before they even come to town, which you jump right into the town bit, there's the whole bit where he's casting. And when he assembles the first few people. Mr. Tension is going to do the makeup. Mr. Nifty, the mob guy, pledges him money as a tax write-off.
I got to admit, at the beginning of this movie, I was like, oh, it was just it was like, oh.
That's why you forgot,
rocks in my pants. And it took me 15 minutes to get those rocks out of my pants and start thinking about this movie.
What does that mean, rocks? Did you shit yourself?
No, it just means that this movie was weighting me down.
Rocks in your pants.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Listeners, if you've ever heard the expression "rocks in your pants," Tim, if it's an old saying, shouldn't you be saying "rocks in my britches"?
Yeah, rocks in my britches.
Yeah, because you're old. Yeah, right. You know what? I see the Tim I'm here with today. What? I'm gonna let you drive the forward momentum of this. I'm gonna let you barrel head. So you I
just jumped ahead of you.
Yeah, you did. So that's why I'm letting you drive this narrative.
I'm sorry. Now I feel bad.
No, I'm actually because I'm kind of lost as to where you are. So you start off.
Just that he shows up in Iowa, and the tension is the mother's like
Sleepless.
Sleepless, and the mother's like, yeah, you ran off to be a big star, and your brother stayed here, and he sold the farm. I hate you both. When we meet his mother, she's terrible to the kids, and she's going to call the cops on them, and he's meeting all the townspeople. Meets the man who's going to play the sheriff. Oh, that's Max, the guy who's not from Sweden. No, deputy. Sorry. Well, you put me in charge, and I'm just like, whatever. Oh. It's a bunch of characters.
Max gets the job because Max wants to be an actor, and he says, "I will pay you $450 American for the right." And I should have done a currency kerner there, but I didn't.
Or a Swedish accent.
Well, that's the question. Was he? I'm going to do my imitation of Max. I'm not from Sweden, but I kind of talk like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was the joke.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Mrs. Walker, the mother, she has a husband. We don't see him like twice. And she says, you haven't talked to me since the Zapruder film.
You're right. No.
And that he keeps bringing up ninjas. Why was he bringing up ninjas? Her old man husband.
Because one of the kids says something about like as quiet as a ninja, and she's like yells at him, and she repeats it to the husband, and the husband comes. He's like, "What? That doesn't make sense. Ninjas are Japanese assassins." And that really is his shtick. He keeps talking about ninjas as Japanese assassins.
Oh, he thinks, but at first he thought ninja stood for 9 improvising, naked, jaywalking American sunbathers. That's why he was into that.
It's the return of Tim acronyms. Oh, that should be a section.
No, my God, no.
Tim acronyms. He takes letters and he makes the letters stand for words. Tim's acronyms.
Yeah. There's my theme song.
Acrotims.
Acrotims. Yeah, you got it.
That sounds like a Tim that does flips through the air.
Yep. What's the rest of that rhyme?
He flips through the air with the greatest of ease.
Oof.
A Tim with rocks in his pants on the daring trapeze.
Worst model train accident. You ever watch the movie about Ringling and Barnum and Bailey Circus called what's it called? Big Top? Where Jimmy Stewart plays a clown?
No.
Ooh, Jimmy Stewart plays a clown. That's one thing. You check this movie out.
Oh, it's me, Jimmy Stewart. I'm a clown.
And the train crash. I love it, but I hate it. It's a model train. It's like, model train.
All right. So, Tim,
anyway,
wait, Tim.
Away from
circuses. You brought this up out of absolutely nowhere.
No,
and then you didn't. No, I didn't say anything about model trains. And
yes,
also, no, I didn't.
You're talking about circuses and clowns.
No, I wasn't. No, you said you just brought like model trains, worst model train accident. We weren't talking anything about that. And here's my question about this movie. Okay. This movie you don't remember. Is the model train like supposed to be a model train in this movie, or is it
it's a horrible accident?
You didn't even explain that. Tim.
It's a movie from the 50s that won an Oscar. Jimmy Stewart plays a clown. We'll have to watch that one day.
Yeah. Yes, and Tim.
Ninjas, acronym Tim. I don't know. You got me there.
Oh, acrobats, I guess. Wow.
Acrobats.
Folks, just want to remind you all, what did I say about Tim Hamilton? Stone to the bone.
No.
You just witnessed some of his mental acrobatics. He left from acrobatics to worst model train disaster of all time.
I love that.
With no stops in between. It went express.
Express. That train was going express. It ran into the local train. That's what happened.
Talk us through this movie.
Well, they have the party in back of his brother's house, and they're not going to live anywhere to save money, so they're going to camp in the back of his brother's yard. And they're having a party.
Fun fact I learned about that was actually really where the filmmakers camped.
Nice. I believe
that was a real thing. That was a real thing. They really camped, and it was actually in real life. It was the real mayor of the town's backyard.
Nice.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
They greased.
And when you say they had a party, do you mean the movie?
For the movie crew. This movie's about making a movie, and Amy has a barrel of lemonade. I don't know why. It's a joke, and she's like spraying it like pesticide. Did you know? You see that?
No.
Why are you not seeing parts of the movie I see, and you see parts I don't see?
Because I suspect that I think you sit down in an altered state, you see the movie you want to see.
No, and
you're like, I wish there was a big model train collision in this, and then suddenly you see it, and you clap with glee, and you yell, "Producer Miss Lee, see the train?" And she from the other room says, "Yes, Tim," and goes back to doing whatever she was doing.
Did you not see Amy talk to her husband, Ralph? And she's like, I want a divorce. And Ralph's like, what?
Yep.
Huh?
What? Okay. I said, yeah, that's the running joke. Amy wants to leave her. And she's
like, I'm not happy. She's like, what?
The joke about Amy is she is like a woman her husband ignores her. He's around the house too much. She keeps saying she wants to divorce. Somehow she falls under the sway of the mob guy. And the mob guy says, like, hey, I'm not a bad guy. I'm staying in your backyard. Here, I want you to get stuff for the party. And he gives her $20,000.
Yeah, that's right. How much today?
And $20,000 start George's current currency.
I just did it. I can't afford to play it again. Your new music is bum ba bum bum ba. Can't afford it. Not again tonight.
Well, Tim, I want you to guess how much you think $20,000 is in today's spending money. This is 1989, reminding you.
30. Let's just add a third.
Nope. $50,732.26.
That's a lot. That's
so
a lot of inflation from 89.
Yeah, right? It's pretty upsetting. She takes this to the supermarket where she buys groceries for all the crew using this $20,000. And she spends $151.84.
On buns, right?
No, not buns yet. She forgets the buns.
Meat, just meat.
No, she doesn't even buy the meat yet. She just buys other stuff.
Nobody listening cares.
No, but Tim, do you want to know what $151.84 is now? Play the music. It's $385.16. Then she realizes, oh, I didn't get the meat. And then she spends, the buns. And she spends $126.12, which is, Tim, guess.
300.
Oh, close. $319.93. And then she goes, but I didn't get the meat. And then she spends $142.14. Guess how much that is, Tim?
319.
You forgot the music. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. 360.55. And the whole time she's being followed around by this guy wearing like pantyhose on his head.
Well, he's
who's a mob enforcer.
Yeah,
he's a gangster guy. And he so they'll be like, that's $151.84. And she walks away. And the guy pulls out a gun and he goes, give me $151.84.
Yes, he's just taking the money back.
Yep, just takes the money back.
It's an okay joke.
It was pretty funny. And then that guy, the cashier, falls in love with her. Yeah.
He's in love with Amy.
Yep.
It's like, gosh, is she married? Gee willikers.
Yep. And they decide she is for some reason. There's a funny joke about that.
She's like Karen Meat on a Sunday, That's what they say in
Karen
Australia.
Meat. Just to remind everybody, Karen. Oh, okay, yes.
Not a spam sandwich. This ain't no Monday.
That's no Monday. What was Thursday again?
You tricked me once,
question
George.
again, Jim. There's no Thursday.
Fool me twice. Shame on you.
Can we end this yet? Is this show over yet?
Well, I do want to mention Gloria because she says, don't be threatened by how much men like me. She was in charge of the script editing.
Oh, I forgot about her. Yeah, the script person.
But she makes a big deal. Like, don't be upset at how much men fawn themselves on me. And we never see that plot thread again. I thought there was going to be a joke there. I'm being picky. I know. If you're listening, movie makers.
Yeah. So let's just say it's kind of a hard movie to describe the plot because the plot is just they're making a movie and there's wacky characters.
Jokes, yeah, run around and make.
I guess the main part of the thing that happens is at some point I guess we just mentioned this, Max is also cast as playing a child, so he spends the rest of the movie. He's the not Swedish guy learning how to be a kid with some kids.
Well, he was a deputy, but he got eaten by some zombie cows. They did dress up people and they stick horns on their head. So then he wants to be something else. And they're like, play 10 years old. Go hang out with these 10-year-old kids all day.
Yes. So that's like the movie within a movie is Zadar the Cat from Hell turns the town's populace into like cow human zombies. And in the real world, this comes to a culmination because Mr. Tension, who was the original scriptwriter and the special effects guy, uses industrial strength glue to stick the cow noses, udders, and horns onto various townspeople. Okay. And they end up rioting because they can't ever take it off. So the movie kind of devolves into this. I'm just kind of the end because I don't know how to talk about this stuff.
Well, George, I got to talk about something. I got something to talk about, George.
All right, Tim.
Max.
What you got?
Max has to spend a day. He's an adult man. And he decides to spend the day with the two kids to learn what it's like to be a kid again. He's like, can you teach me? And they're hitting drums on garbage cans. You probably don't remember this. You seem to forget half the movie.
I remember that. He amusingly beats on a garbage can in a very hyperactive way that I watched it made me feel tired.
So the one thing, they show him how to be a kid. There's a very important scene you missed. They sneak into old man Kenny's newspaper stand. Okay. And they steal that issue of Playboy they aren't allowed to sell. It's a proto issue from 1936, George, before When Hef was a kid. He tried to issue out in 1936. Very rare issue. Okay.
Why was this at a used store?
No, it's a newsstand. He's just not in Iowa. He's not allowed to sell Playboy. You can come and sneak a peek if he's not looking. So they go in.
Why is he such an old one? Why is this old?
George, because this town's old-fashioned.
Okay.
The centerfold is Barbara Duesenberg. And her centerfold, you can see her ankles. Mm-hmm. And her turn-ons, George. This bit's good. It's going good. The all-Pullman Super Chief passenger train between Chicago and Los Angeles. Her turn-offs were bread lines. 1936, everybody. Bread lines.
That's
her big
wasn't
goal.
The crash in 29?
There's still
36. Weren't we recovering by then?
It was a long line.
Okay.
And her goal is to ride the Hindenburg dirigible, the new fancy air travel. Okay. That's something that happened in this movie.
The Hindenburg?
No. Wow.
Tim, what year was that this Playboy was from?
36.
Oh, same year that the Hindenburg blew up.
Yeah. It's ironic.
Yeah, okay.
That's ironic, George.
Boy, that's quite the embarrassment for young Hugh Hefner when when that stuck out to print. Remember way back in 2001 when the trailer for Spider-Man came out, the movie, and there was a scene with the World Trade Center, and everyone's like, yep. "Oh, yeah, yep. That must have been how Hugh Hefner felt when Dookie Heisenberg, whatever her name was,
Barbara, George.
Barbara.
Is it Barbara? Probably not.
I don't know.
You messed up when I was talking about this movie.
Yep.
Oh, they go look at a gazebo. They show
Who's they?
The whole town to see the dailies. They show the dailies.
Yes.
And Amy's at home washing styrofoam cups. I would like to know if that's an Iowa joke.
No, because the husband actually makes a reference to it later. Okay. He's like, "Why are you washing cups again? They're styrofoam." She's like, "I got to do something." It's because she's so bored.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the mother writes the script. You lost me. You lost me, George. The makeup guy. The makeup guy doesn't make jokes around latex.
Mr. Tension. Oh, yeah, he's very serious. Mr. Tension, very serious about latex.
You know why?
Condoms?
You mixed me all up. Because you don't joke while putting out a latex condom. Mm-hmm. You don't joke while getting a latex catheter inserted into your urethra.
Oof.
I'm not doing the last one. Never mind.
No, what? Please, Tim, I want to hear the last one.
Okay. You don't joke while putting on latex gloves before cleaning up all the blood in the basement. We'll just cut that all out.
No. Okay. I think we should cut this entire episode out. Let's go back to talk about chimp crazy.
Oh, Rex talks to the fourth wall. Each one does. Each character does.
I don't remember. Can you remind me which one Rex is?
He's the sheriff? Oh, no. He's the man who's like, "Hello, I must talk very perfectly."
Oh, he's the radio man with the great voice who's very dumb but talks about lunch all the time.
Oh, because I like this part. This part I was laughing at. They film a scene in the diner where he's the police officer and he's getting coffee and they do it 3 times. He goes, and ask my son here. And his son goes, "You are not my father." And then they run in as ninjas. You remember this bit?
Yeah, and he keeps
change our clothes.
He keeps fucking the lineup and he's getting more and more hyper caffeinated.
Yes, I thought that was funny.
And Tim, did you catch that they actually said how much coffee costs in this scene?
No.
Yeah. Play the music.
Bump it up, bump up.
10 cents. He's like, "That's inexpensive." Tim, you want to know what 10 cents is equivalent to nowadays?
Oh, I know. It's like $3. $3 coffee.
No, 25 cents.
Oh, but it is not. You're making that up.
That's what I looked it up. It's 25 cents.
Oh, we live in Brooklyn. Costs $10 for that cup of coffee.
Yeah, seriously. Brooklyn.
But I like that scene. Shout out to the movie makers, and because he's like keeps drinking coffee. Oh, and he likes the one waitress, not the other. So when the waitress that he likes gives him coffee, and the last time he does it, if you notice, he's like, and he gets all nervous because it's the one he likes.
I did, and I thought they were going to follow up in that, and they didn't really.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I want to interrupt again. This movie, I feel like when we normally watch regional film, there's some real tragic performances. There's some real ineptitude. Everyone did a good job in this, even the little kid actors.
Yeah.
There was some funniness. It reminded me very much, if you're trying to picture what this movie feels like, it reminded me of something like Kentucky Fried Movie. And that it was a bunch of little skits, and it felt like that level of production value.
Yeah. The other funny bit when the kids spent a lot of time with Max, teach them what it's like to be a kid.
Yeah, that's like half the movie. Uh-huh.
They played Hypothetical Island for a little bit. It's called Would You Rather back then.
They did. They played my previous podcast, Hypothetical Island. They did a Would You Rather, and it was stuff like, did you write down any of the ones?
Learn algebra or learn square dancing.
I don't think there was one, but yeah.
Rip up your collection of Boner's Art comics or rip up your collection of Ziggy comics?
Ziggy.
Which would you do? Okay.
I'd rip up Ziggy.
Would you rather watch Zapruder film once or watch RoboCop 3 twice?
RoboCop 3 twice.
Wow. Well, they did things like that. They lock up some people in jail because they keep stealing whatever they need.
Yeah, they work. I forgot that. There's some guys who keep stealing shit for the production. They lock them
tractors,
up in jail. Yeah, they stole a tractor.
And one of the dailies they show some hands are like fondling the udders of the cow.
That part made me fucking laugh.
Yeah.
All right, so can I set this up properly?
You can do it.
They're showing like the dailies, and it's mostly Tension's different special effects he was setting up. So like there's a wind-up cow attacking like a little scale of the village.
Yes.
There's a kind of really disturbing puppet. It's actually pretty funny. And then there's just this scene, apropos of nothing, where you see an actual cow's udder, and like a human hand comes in and is like rubbing it very sensuously and kind of massaging its nipples. And like they cut back to like Tension's talking to Sleepless, and he's like, what is that about? And Sleepless is like, well, we need to get that hard R some way. Yeah, I'm like, that's a funny joke. And they cut it really quickly, but it was very weird and made me literally laugh out loud.
That was good. Shout out again.
Shout out, Ducks. Tim, did you actually read about Duck's Breath Mystery Theater? They had a show on NPR.
Did they?
Yeah, it was like literally called the Duck's Breath Mystery Hour or something.
You could be lying.
They apparently no. Let me look it up. Now I'm not sure.
Did Prairie Home Companion? Who's that guy?
Garrison Keillor.
Did he shove them off the air?
Yeah, he Duck's Breath Mystery Theater. Yeah. Best known for its live performances and radio sketches broadcast on NPR. They held their first reunion show in San Francisco in 2005, Tim, and they had their last show at the Freight and Salvage in Berkeley on August 29, 2015.
The Freight and Salvage? That's where I bought my couch.
Berkeley.
My old couch. Robbed a bank.
I
remember
shot
that by the police.
Yep. Yeah. That couch had a storied history.
Wish.
Yeah.
So they have a big meeting then, and the guy has a diagram. This is important for a giant cow he's going to build.
Mm-hmm. I remember this. Yeah.
Engine room. It's got a faulty exhaust valve in the back. It's faulty exhaust pipe, and it's got a compactor room full of crappy stuff. It's a whole model of a cow.
And wait, let me steal it. And it smells. You thought it smelled bad on the outside.
No, not this one.
Yeah.
So that's the meeting where the people say that we can't get these horns off our head, and they chase the cast of the movie like for the rest of the movie because they're going to. And it becomes like a
meet out harsh justice. Ooh, I love to use the word meet, Tim.
Meet out.
Did you use meet out because of your fan of Karen Meat?
Yeah.
You know what? We need to tag Karen Meat. I can't decide if Karen Meat is actually a person or it seems like it's a duo.
It's a duo.
Yeah. I think it's like Blondie, where people think Debbie Harry is Blondie, but she wasn't. She was Debbie Harry.
Yeah, the girls.
I think people look at the woman in Karen Meat and say that she's made of meat. She's probably Karen Meat.
One is Karen and one is Meat. Yeah.
Oh, the guy's meat. That makes sense.
Well, I don't know. He wears a dress. So we're going to be careful. I don't know their genders.
That's true. They might. Yeah, we don't know their. They both they have matching like almost like weird tie-dyed outfits too in a lot of their photos.
So whatever.
Karen Meat, Iowa's own.
Okay, so this cow, and then they chase him to a house where there's a man living there, but he doesn't own it. And he just complains the whole time that I live here. Get out of here. And they're like, are you a ghost?
And they ask if he's a ghost. You know,
that was pretty good.
I'm going to straight up recommend this movie. Like, I think this movie was actually pretty funny. Like,
yeah, it went on a little too long, but
it's like it was such a you joke because they're like, we're going to Old Man Henshaw's house.
I know, I was excited,
and he was like, Old Man Henshaw. They're just ignoring him. Like, Tim, you must have loved this.
I did. It's called the Benson Place, by the way.
Oh, is it Benson? Okay, he was Old Man Benson, not Crenshaw.
Yep. Well, I think it's Old Man Benson's place, but he was living there.
No, they made the joke that he was the old man.
Oh,
I think.
okay.
They were all ignoring him. I think it's a pointed criticism of the way America treats its less advantaged.
And Rex, he goes, oh, it's got a gas stove. I remember gas stoves. And I'm like, oh, so this place is going to blow up, right? So I wonder if the budget got changed.
The budget, yeah.
Yeah. Like, why are you bringing up gas?
It's interesting. I interpreted it as he huffed gas, but...
Could be.
Yeah, I feel like that's
why do you
a bit
interpret
of
that?
Because the house didn't blow up.
So he huffed it?
Well, it was notable. It's like, I remember gas stoves. It's like, why are you saying that?
Oh, okay. Maybe they're explaining why he is the way he is.
Yeah, maybe he's like just been like...
It's like hot dogs. You mentioned hot dogs. He goes wild.
I have a question, Tim, because I can't remember. Mm-hmm. So the horde of townsfolk with like all their horns and pig and cow nose and stuff come on, and they attack the people in the house.
Yeah.
For some reason, the movie makers get arrested. Why?
All the stuff they stole. And Amy, by the way, Amy's a big part of the plot. She runs away to run away, and she's with the movie people, and her husband comes to get her, and then she runs away from her husband, and the guy from the grocery store who loved her and the husband confront her in the cornfield where she fell down. Just that's a big part of this plot.
And she goes back with her husband.
Well, yeah, the last we see of her, they drive off in their pickup, and he goes, why didn't you tell me you were sad? And that's the last we see of them. Problem solved. He basically kidnapped her, brought her back home. So
now I'll have to keep you locked up in the extra room.
I have to bring up that plot point. So yeah, then they go to prison.
And by they, because Tim is reckless in his use of pronouns without assigning to anything, it's Sleepless and Mr. Tension both go to prison. And the last we see of them, they're in the jail, and Sleepless is like, isn't it kind of nice being... It's like taking a break. And Tension's like, what are you, nuts? We're in jail. He's like, I prefer to think of it as a big front porch. And the whole world's just going by, waving hi.
Sorry, that's Baltimore. America's front porch, right?
Oh, you're
or Delaware.
Right. Wait, what?
Or is it
Delaware? You're right. It was Delaware, yeah. Delaware, America's front porch. Stop stealing our Amazon packages.
That's it. It only took us an hour.
Yeah.
I'll edit it down. We like to say now, I like to say how this movie was like Star Wars, and I already said it. If you look closely at that big diagram of the giant cow they're going to build, they had a flaw, an exhaust port that you could toss a photon torpedo in and easily blow it up. That's how this movie's like. And they're like, I don't see it. We don't see it. There you go. You do Labyrinth.
I'd like to say how this movie's like Labyrinth. In Labyrinth, there were many goblins who had horned helmets, like cow horns. In this movie, all the townspeople who looked weird had little horns in their heads, like goblins.
Got it.
Yep.
Great segment. Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, I'll find you.
Revenge.
One of us will die. One of us will die.
I will not let
All right, I'm going to go first because I know yours is going to be long and just twisted. And I want to get mine in before that.
Nope.
Yep, here's my movie. So the movie ends... Oh, yeah, thank you. The movie ends, Zadar, Cow from Hell, where our two aspiring filmmakers, Mr. Tension and Sleepless Walker, are incarcerated. We're not really sure why. I guess because somebody stole a tractor. Maybe it's because they glued stuff to all the townspeople.
Many things.
But they're being held without due trial. And that seems problematic, right?
Yeah.
And the filmmakers, weirdly, the filmmakers who are in this movie, because this is a movie within a movie, they decided to make a sequel addressing this. And in this movie, both Mr. Walker and Mr. Tension are extradited back to L.A. where they stand trial for the crime of making a regional film. Like, you don't understand. Well, it is because recently certain events, certain podcasts have cast attention onto how bad regional films can be.
In 1991?
No. This is one of those
You're being
legacy
meta.
sequels. It only happens now. Yeah, it's legacy
right.
sequel.
So they're old.
And despite the fact that they actually, because they're Hollywood types, they use good cream. It kept them looking young.
Okay.
Despite the fact that this movie is actually quite good, they're held on trial, and they realize as they take the stand, and they're hearing these people like there's like a guy representing Jack Weiss going up there, and a guy representing Charles Pierce, and a guy representing that movie that Tim said was filmed in Massachusetts but was really filmed in Texas. They're like, Mr. Walker leans into Mr. Tension. He's like, I don't think we're going to get a fair trial out of here. We need you to use your special effects expertise to create a diversion. Yeah. So Mr. Tension, he's like, no, Mr. Tension's like, I have this great idea of this movie I saw. It's about this alien that like it lays eggs inside of you, and the eggs burst outside. Like, oh shit, you're gonna do? He's like, yeah, watch. And suddenly, in the middle of the courtroom, Mr. Tension stands up. He's like, and he starts like spitting up, and nobody knows what's going on. And he bends over, and his innards explode. Ooh. He's very literal in his special effects. He actually swallowed a hand grenade.
It's like, chunks of Star Wars.
Just like Star Wars. Chunks and pieces of Mr. Tension fly around the courtroom. A chunk of bone is embedded into Judge Ito's head. He slumps over dead. In the ensuing chaos, Mr. Walker, sleepless, he makes a break for it. He pulls off like the clothing of a corpse. He puts it on. He races up north, where he reinvents himself in Washington.
Okay.
As a simple pig farmer. And do you know what this movie is called?
Pig Not in the City? Wait.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Was he a pig farmer?
No. I don't know why I said pig farmer.
Because I never saw that movie. So you could have said yes.
Yes, he was. But our listeners would know, Tim. I should have said where he worked as a radio psychiatrist. That would have been better. Because then I've been talking about Frasier.
Never saw that either.
Yeah, you'd only mention Frasier for like the first 100 episodes of this podcast every time.
I like.
All right, that's me.
Seattle.
I'm done. Stop the music. Why were you playing the music the whole time?
Okay, let me do mine quick. I hope we described this movie correctly, because Amy was an unhappy wife. Oh, God, George, you're raising your hand already.
Yes, I did not describe this movie correctly.
Well, I'm going to concentrate the part of Amy, who wanted to leave her husband, and the clerk at the grocery store was in love with her. We weren't sure if she loved him, but she was unhappy.
I honestly don't think. My feeling is she didn't even notice him.
So,
yeah, I think it was unrequited of that poor grocery clerk.
So, okay, I'll start the music. The wife, she's back home. So her husband dragged her home and was like, "Don't worry, be happy," like that new song. But she wasn't happy. She didn't get a good part in that movie, and she didn't have a farm. And what she really wanted, the thing she read about, and something she really wanted, George. Yeah. She read about it in the novelization of The Blue Lagoon. She wanted a bidet. Because in the novelization, The Blue Lagoon, they build a bidet out of coconuts and bamboo, George. You never read the novelization?
Like the movie famously about people being lost in a wilderness, they build a bidet.
They did, George, in the novelization. So she asks her husband if he would get her one. But he don't want no water fountains in this house, he says. You can go to the local high school and drink out of them there, face bidets, or face squirters, mouth squirters. No, he had lots of names for it.
Mouth squirter is upsetting.
It is. Don't look that up on Urban Dictionary. So she swallowed her anger, but she vowed revenge. So she remembered those blueprints the movie people presented of the giant cow. Blueprints had a room for ninjas, a motor room, and a trash compactor room, plus that flaw in the exhaust port. But she felt it wasn't that big of a flaw. She would build this giant cow and put a bidet room where the weightlifting room was. Yeah, George?
Was there a giant ion cannon in this cow capable of neutralizing an entire star system in one blow?
Well, not exactly. A facsimile.
Okay.
A facsimile.
Right. Go on.
So, in her spare time, she and that kid from the grocery store who was a pest, he still was in love with her. He helped her build that cow in her barn. And, because she had one that her husband didn't use because he sold the farm, but he had a barn. So they built this in secret. So after about 2 years, what did they do?
What did they build it out of?
Wood and metal.
Not meat?
No.
Karen meat? Go on.
Karen meat was the official musical choice of this giant cow. But after about 2 years of building and sexual tension with a grocery store kid, they got that giant cow working. Amy used that bidet 8 times a day, which dried out her butt.
Oh, yeah, gross.
George.
Is sexual tension related to Mr. Tension, the filmmaker?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Yes. I don't like that she has a chat butt, Tim. I don't like it at all.
That's what happens when you use the bidet. It's too much. She abused it
8 times a day. Is she using it every time? Is she defecating 8 times a day? In which case, she probably has celiac disease or something.
She's fixated on rhymes. I use my bidet 8 times a day.
Oh, well, you know what? Unfortunately, she could have said, I use my bidet 1 time a day, because that still rhymes.
Not in her mind. Not in her mind. So,
not in her mind. I clean my behind. More rhymes.
So on that day, that kid finally confessed his love for her and how he wanted to run off with her in her giant cow. But she didn't want to run off. She just wanted to use the bidet in the cow. In the bidet room. Too many bidets in that sentence, yeah.
Did she say, retreat in our moment of triumph?
Yes, she did. Kicked him out the door. Thus that kid was spurred and angry. This cow he helped build was a symbol of his failed romance. So he started up, he kicked her out, sorry. He stole it.
Oh, he kicked her out. Oh.
He started up the leg motors and the udder engine and took the cow. He left Amy behind and went on a rampage through town. Amy felt
like the Killdozer.
Amy felt awful about this, but she remembered that exhaust port, the poop chute of the big bovine. Yeah?
Did he destroy Alderaan feed store?
Yes, he did.
Wow.
Rex said, I feel a strange sensation.
As if millions of kernels of feed cried out in terror were suddenly silenced.
Yes.
And then she said, that's no cow. No, she said, that's no moon. That's a giant cow.
My God. Thank you. So.
And now it's not getting any better than that.
Amy felt bad. And we didn't know this about Amy. She's a skilled hang glider pilot. And she grabbed 3 bowling balls and got in her hang glider and headed for the one pass she had for the exhaust port in this giant bovine as it walked across town. Yes, George?
Hang glider pilots are known as hang gliderinos.
Okay.
Yep. She's a skilled hang gliderino.
Who did I offend?
All the hang gliderinos in our listening audience.
So she only had 1 shot. She had her bowling balls. And you know what happened?
She dropped the bowling balls on her foot and said, ow, and hopped around in a circle?
All 3. These bowling balls were numbered 1 through 4, and 1 through 3 fell. They all fell. And a little voice in their head said, you got to use the 4th. And she tossed that bowling ball into that exhaust port, blew that elephant up.
Tim, I think it is an exhaust. I like you said blew the elephant up, too. You don't even know what animal you're talking about anymore.
It's a cow.
That pointed an elephant. Just standing there as that death cow went by.
So she blew it up. And her husband picked her up and said, why didn't you say you were unhappy? And he took her home again where she stewed unhappily. So that movie was called Lactose Intolerant. That's all I got, George. Because you called me today and said, we got to do this today.
Folks, now you know what happens when Tim doesn't get the full 48 hours of just stewing to come up with stuff.
But that was a story.
I think Lactose Intolerant was pretty good.
Okay. It's a good story.
That's like, Tim, I think that would be a funny, good, like, that would be a better name than like Zadar, the cow from hell. If they called this Lactose Intolerance, that would have been great. That would have been, this movie would have been a bigger hit than, what's that film? We almost never mention it.
Star Wars.
Yeah, that's the one.
Well, this year was up against Batman, George. Tim Burton's Batman.
Tim Burton's Batman.
Remember when I pointed out, this is so weird that I didn't realize it. When the Joker falls at the end of Tim Burton's Batman, that's an animation that he painted. They don't show anybody falling. It's an animation. They painted him falling. You take a look at that scene. I read about it.
As I recall it,
yeah.
It's a still photo of him going, ah! But there is there's the animation scene in the very beginning. It's straight up cartoon. When you first see Batman on the roof, and it's just like they just drew like a cartoon of him swirling.
Yeah. I think Tim Burton put those bits in. He liked that. Anyway. That's it. That's it for the show. Like us and follow us. Give us some reviews and listen to us everywhere podcasts are broadcast. And look at what I drew this week on the blog. And if you want to draw
profane. Yeah.
George's story, send in a drawing. We'll post it on our blog. Or you can draw mine, my giant elephant. With
if you just want to draw like, I don't know, maybe you want to draw somebody sensuously rubbing a cow's udders.
That goes with the theme.
It does. It's part of the scene. It's a scene in this movie. It's how we got the R.
This is like a thumbs up movie. First time ever, I think. I liked it. You liked it. Had funny stuff. So next week,
Spookytober.
And I found a director, and I'll talk about him next week because I forgot to write his name down. Kentucky. Kentucky's our next movie. He made this movie called Asylum of Satan. It's on YouTube from 1972. The dark scenes look kind of too dark, so you better turn on your closed captioning.
Who is the director, Tim? Do we know? William Girdler.
Yep.
William Girdler. Oh, man, there's such a cool shot of him. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's sad. He died very young. He died at age 30.
Oof.
But he made 6 films.
One of them is called The Manitou, which I remember being not good. Sorry.
You've seen it before? I think I watched Manitou when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, watch. Join us next week as we return to 1972. Top show on TV, The Odd Couple. And All in the Family. Odd Couple is a popular show. Think of that. Odd Couple, super popular, same time as All in the Family. That's 2 different spectrums there.
Why?
Oh, come on, have you seen All in the Family? It's very serious. It's funny. Odd Couple's goofy. Goofy. Odd Couple's goofy.
I didn't like All in the Family.
Yeah, it's serious. Yeah. All right.
When did Sanford and Son air?
That I don't know. In the 70s.
Mm-hmm. How about Welcome Back, Kotter?
In the 70s. Shout out to Karen Meat. We don't know who's who.
Question, Tim, is
which
it Kentucky
one's Tony?
or Karen?
Which one's Orlando?
Is it Kentucky or
which
Kansas?
One's Don? It's
old
Louisville,
references.
Kentucky,
yep.
Right?
Okay, yep.
Asylum of Satan, Kentucky. Okay, now we go, right? Now we say goodbye.
Yeah, bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.
An impression saying, "Oh, not me. I thought I knew about the wild cards."
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was you.
Probably.
So
I think I bring up Gambit a lot. Should we talk about that?
Well, you can. I know nothing about Gambit. He blows up cards. It's my different era.
No. He takes the potential energy inherent in objects and releases it as kinetic energy.
Potential energy in objects and releases it. So if he touched you, nothing would happen. I get this Gambit stuff.
You still got it, Tim. Well,